guys. Hi. So I'm Sonika from A Good Pick, and we're actually an online marketplace at the moment, about to launch, say today or tomorrow. Our website's about to launch, and yeah, we sell all your regular consumer products, your dry grocery, personal care, home cleaners, whatever. What what we've actually built is a very unique calculator. So can I share my screen?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we built this. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, 1 minute. Okay. So what we built is we've built this technology and to assess the true cost of any product. Like currently, our currency doesn't represent the actual cost the product has on the ecosystem or how much resource it actually has consumed. So what it does is for any product, it maps the entire life cycle of the product. So any product actually goes through these 5 or 6 stages. Any product, from material extraction to processing to packaging, transport, use, end of life. So we map this entire journey for these products, and then we have certain parameters that we use to analyze the impact of this product and how much resource it actually has consumed. Yeah. So currently what we do is, so all products that are listed on our marketplace, they go through this verification, and we give consumers a score, a rating, how good the product is for the planet or for your health. But right now, what we want to do is expand the calculator, how it works, and sort of get to calculating this, like the impact of every product in these terms of how much resource it has consumed, or how has it impacted the water or soil or air or drains in land use. This is what we want to expand into, what we want to start building. Right now, we're just giving them like a plain basic score. Yeah, that's what it is. And
cool. So earlier in our Indian, Australasia, Mideast targeted session, we had another company from India called Switch Eco. You were actually allowed to speak, I think, fairly close to them, because I saw some synergies between what you're doing and what they're doing. So I would highly recommend watching the recording and reaching out to those guys. It seems like they've made some good steps. I talked with them the other day, and they gave me a presentation. I was actually asleep a little bit. Haven't gotten much sleep getting ready for this event, and it's almost 2 a.m. here in Colorado, so I was actually grabbing a little bit of sleep when they went. But maybe Abhishek or Manish can talk a little bit about what they presented, and ask you a couple questions how it might tie in with what you're doing.
yeah.
Hi, Sonika. Great to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, Sonika. So we spoke to this. Akshay and Akhil were the team members who pitched from their startup.
Okay.
It's not exactly same idea of yours, but it's something which can go well and complement with yours, I feel. What they do is that they work with the B2B segment as well, where they tie up with the industries, academic colleges as well, for the entire 360-degree shift of sustainable practices, as well as they have a community of themselves as well, where they're promoting them to use this. And much of their activities which they're promising are also in terms of the packaging from end to end kind of a thing in a sustainability manner. And right now they're more focused into the awareness kind of thing as we speak. And so that is about them. Switch Eco is the company, And
Okay.
I'll be happy to share the recording and as well as this. And if there's any one more thing which I'm missing out is that about them, they have been fairly successful in attracting younger talents, is what they mentioned. They were saying
Okay.
the audiences in school, the audiences in colleges are more eager to be, rather, let's say, the Gen Z community. That was the
Mhm.
learning which we had. The Gen Z community is more interested to be contribute of change.
Yeah.
They are more interested to take data-driven decision. They more want to know that the thing they're using is is being sourced ethically or not, or what they're consuming is eco-friendly or not, or animal cruelty free or not. So that was the paradigm shift that they felt. Those were the learnings which they mentioned. So yes, man, that is entire thing which if I have to.
And adding to Manish, about EcoSwitch. Firstly, hi Sonika.
Hi.
The thing is, they are also they're a fairly new startup. For 5 months, they've made a great, growth, and what they've achieved in 5 months is kind of brilliant. And also, they're looking to battle something related to plastic waste. They were
Okay.
really concerned, and when we were discussing about, one on one, we were just having a discussion of how their products, which are biodegradable and eco-friendly, would impact. Was they largely spoke about how their products are going to replace plastic, and their idea generated when in India they banned plastic, a
Mhm.
certain kind of grade of plastic which was widely used, for packaging and everything. And but they also pointed out that the country did not give an alternative. If not plastic, what to be used? So that is where their idea actually originated. So, and they've, like Manish said, they're also working on awareness and many other things. So I think if you can actually reach out to them and connect, it's gonna you guys will strike synergy, like Matt mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, and like from my conversation with them the other day, uh, I know they're trying to bring down the cost of, sort of the green products, the regenerative products, the non-plastic products. They're using bamboo for some things.
Mhm.
And I mean, in some cases, they, he was sort of telling me that they have like this bamboo toothbrush that they're able to sell pretty much at the same price as a plastic,
Yeah.
toothbrush. And so they, and they have kind of a unique way of getting in with businesses in terms of helping them with their trash and their waste and their byproducts, some of which actually have some value that's they're able to harvest. Um, and yeah, so I would definitely recommend, reaching out with them. I do think the average consumer, is just trying to, put food on the table, live as well as they can,
Yeah.
aren't necessarily immediately thinking about, green and friendly products, but
Yeah.
if they're the same price, then they're more apt to buy the
Oh yeah.
the regenerative, green, sustainable type of product. Where if it's much more
Absolutely.
expensive, they're less likely to buy. So I don't think they're as focused as you are in terms of providing like a rating. I think they evaluate the product, uh, but they're more focused on actually selling products and creating business relationships and that sort of thing. So yeah. Anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up this segment?
No, actually, Matt, can you share any doubts which you have regarding good pick or any questions which you wanted to ask about this?
You're asking me if I have questions?
Yeah, about the platform, what they are building, the economic model.
Well, eh, Sonika, why don't you answer my question, then I'll answer Manish's. If do you have anything else that you wanted to sort of add or throw in there?
No, I think yeah, what I was it's interesting. Like to reach out to Switch Eco. What you said is very appropriate that price, in fact, that's what we found that price is the biggest hindrance to consumers adopting this. And data-driven decision is fine, but ultimately it's price. They're not going to shell out like 100% more than what they're paying now. And the focus of our marketplace also is somehow to provide them these products at as budget-friendly prices as we can. So that's the whole thing.
Sure.
And
So I'm going to add something to that. Like what we're working on with Impact Ecosystem is very tied into that, because we're offering a rewards program, and the rewards can then be used to bring down the price on the green and regenerative products to make those products price competitive, or actually maybe even cheaper, effectively. When you use your rewards discounts on the product, it can bring it down. So that's something we're working on. And then sort of to answer Manisha's question a little bit, I'm going to sort of pose you a question, and I'll give a part answer and then turn it over to you. But I think it's very challenging with a product like, a service like Sonika's trying to do, in terms of evaluating how good or not good, say, a product is with supply chain. You have many layers on the supply chain, and not all of them are providing information. Now, in some countries, the European Union tends to be pretty far ahead. France has a lot of disclosure on a lot of different products that's required. Even when you buy real estate, they give a rating of how energy efficient it is, how much greenhouse gases it uses. The last time I was in France, my wife is from there. I was staying at a hotel in Paris, and even in the elevator of the hotel, there's a rating in terms of like carbon emissions per night of a hotel room. A lot of times we don't think about that because it's not there in front of us, but in France and some other places growing, that's sort of like we have calorie labels on a lot of our foods. It says how many calorie labels it is. They're starting to have much more carbon emissions labels and requiring that. So I think from an investment standpoint, my comment would be, companies who are not prepared for this type of trend could find it difficult, and could get out competed by companies that are ready for that. So it's something I would look at when evaluating companies, and maybe you can, Sonika, give us a little bit more light on some of the challenges that you faced with that, and where some places there's transparency, and then lots of areas of the supply chains there's not so much transparency. Is that your experience?
Yeah, it's the biggest challenge right now. We're only working with vendors, manufacturers, direct manufacturers, to be willing to shell out this data, and these are only people who are genuinely very sustainable and eco-friendly. And even then, there's a lot of resistance from them to shell out this. Firstly, there's like a concept known as a system boundary, that there's only so much that you can map in the supply chain, because if you go in depth, then you can like really go in depth. There are too many layers. So one is that defined that, okay, this is only so much that we can map. And then there is this another problem of actually getting the data. Having said that, if they agree to give this data, the third challenge is the actual verification of the data that they're giving you. They could be giving you anything. How do you know if that's actually true or not? So to actually implement this at scale, that's quite a bit of a challenge. So right now, what we're looking at is to sort of start giving out this rating with whatever information is available online for goods at large, like for even non-eco-friendly products, with whatever data we can fish out from Google, and like have these different grades of calculators. Like this is data from Google, this is data from actual manufacturer, this is actually verified data. So have that, let consumers know the source of the data, because that's very important. That's definitely one of those biggest challenges that we're facing.
Got it. It's a little bit, to me, a chicken and an egg challenge. You need the you know, you need the demand for it,
Yeah.
and you need the funding, and then to
Yeah.
get the data, and then you need to have like there's it's maybe more than a chicken and egg. Maybe there's
Yeah.
more than two parts that are really relevant on this. Have you identified some potential competitors or maybe collaborators that are doing a similar thing as to what you're doing? Because there's so many products out there in the world, and
Yeah.
there's so much data. And how do you start getting where you have a critical mass? And you know, it seems like there is lots of opportunities to work together, and there's, you know,
Yeah.
so have you identified some other people that are sort of tackling this problem, or maybe different areas of this of a similar problem?
There are a few people who are doing this. Like even in India, there's another marketplace that gives you this rating, but that's not the entire supply chain. Like the entire life cycle bit, nobody's doing it at this scale, and it's mostly being applied where companies are doing it for themselves. Like the application that I'm trying to do to assess and then give consumers a score, there are certifications, but not to like this extent and not to this scale. Where I think that's also where we're different and where we're new. Life cycle assessment is happening, but that's just for companies themselves to assess and not like publish it out there. Yeah. And yeah, definitely a lot of scope for collaboration. In fact, what's coming to me right now is that if you have this reward system, uh, somehow link the calculator, like if this is assessing that this is how good the product is, and then derive the reward that, okay, then these are the rewards that you get for this product. Like that's the obvious linkage that is coming to me right now.
Sure. Yeah. And that's like, we're trying to, you know, build, you know, something of a currency, you know, whether you're calling it gift cards or vouchers or points or what have you. But we're actually ultimately going to be relying on people like you and people that collaborate with you, and other product evaluators and people who are collecting data, and
Yeah.
to refine our system. I mean, initially we're sort of going more the route of switch eco, where we're going to just put products kind of in categories, and then we'll give rewards, you know, points that can be used related to each category. But the categories will be kind of broad and crude, and not necessarily completely dialed in. As we go on, we'd like to get more and more dialed in, because the more accurate your accounting is, the better your decisions can be that you make are. So, I mean, I think we've suffered greatly in the world from inefficiencies, economic inefficiencies due to externalities. Externalities are another way of saying things we don't account for. And they're real costs, and they're costs that are borne by society, but they're not reflected in the price of a product, or, you know, so a lot of companies have benefited greatly by being able to shift costs away from their actual themselves or the consumers of their products, and push those costs onto society. And you know, society is paying those prices, and no one's really accounting for those costs or holding polluters or extractors accountable. And so, you know, I think as technology has improved, we do have the technical capabilities of dialing this in much more. We just haven't chosen to do it. We're scared that it's going to hurt the economy. But the reality is that without nature, without humans surviving on the planet, there is no economy. So I think our first priority should be making sure that we survive. You know, the second, you know, and I'm not talking just survive the next 5 or 10 years. I'm talking, you know, decades and generations and even centuries, right? But the next issue is, can we survive on a planet that's friendly to us, right? We've the last 10,000 years, the weather has been very friendly and it's been very conducive to human development. We've developed more just even in the last couple hundred years, and been able to improve life expectancy and improve standard of living, in many parts of the planet. And some of that's due to technology, and some of that's due to human ingenuity, and some of it's due to fossil fuels. So fuels haven't been all bad, but we're realizing now that they're coming with a cost, and that cost could be our future survival on the planet. And I think a lot of people have sort of shrugged that off, but I think it's high time that we actually sort of account for those costs so that we can make educated decisions on trade-offs. Like, okay, well, yes, this is going to pollute the air, and overall, we lose 7 or 8 million people a year to air pollution, but it also raises standards of living, so we'll deal with that, right? But when you don't account for things, you make lots of bad decisions. So we're at the hour, so we're actually going to be starting our next session, our European session, session 3. So thank you very much, Sonika, and a good
Thank
pick.
you. Thank you.
And best of luck to you guys, and I'll talk to you again soon, I hope. And we're going to exit out of this, and hopefully Bishik, maybe someone's already over at the session 3 for speakers. Cool. So I'm going to exit out of here and go there, and I'll see all you guys in a little bit. And maybe you want to, if you guys play some music there, that would be great.